Now the gates of Jericho were shut up tight because of the Israelites. No one came out and no one went in. The way God commanded Joshua to attack the city was beyond imagination. But Joshua believed in God's power and was willing to obey. According to God's command, Joshua assembled the Israelites in order. The armed guard marched in the front, followed by 7 trumpet-blowing priests, then the ark. The rest of the people followed behind, like this, while the priests blowing the trumpets as they walked. No one said a word or shouted. This was repeated for 6 days. Every day they marched around Jericho once and then returned to the camp. At the dawn on the 7th day, they marched around the city 7 times. Judging by its excavated site, the city of Jericho was rather small. It was about 30,000 square meters. On the 7th day, it is not difficult to circle the city 7 times in a day. When the Israelites circled the city for the 7th time, the priest sounded a long blast on the trumpets. "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city." So the people shouted, and the trumpets were blown. As soon as the people heard the sound of the trumpets, they raised a great shout, and the wall fell down flat. So the people charged straight ahead into the city and captured it.
About the miracle of the fall of the Jericho city wall, archaeologist Dr. Wood used many archaeological results for analysis. As mentioned earlier, the wall of the outer city was made with mud bricks and was built on the stone wall that consolidated the slope. Archaeologists excavated the ruins of Jericho and found that in about 1400 BC, the mud bricks city wall fell down flat. The broken mud bricks, piled against the stone slope wall, formed an up-ramp. Hence, the Israelites, as the Bible says, were able to went up into the city. It emphasized that they went up and took the city. The author might have seen the scene with his own eyes to make such a vivid description.
Some said there might have been an earthquake, so that city wall collapsed. The fallen mud bricks formed an up-ramp. This enabled the Israelites to go up into the city. Thus, the collapse of the wall was a natural phenomenon. However, our God is the God who controls the nature. He can certainly use a natural phenomenon to fulfill His plan. The Bible says on the 7th day, after the 7th circling of the city, the wall collapsed. We have to say that it was still a miracle. When the Lord your God thrusts them out before you, do not say to yourself, "It is because of my righteousness that the Lord has brought me in to occupy this land." It is rather because of the wickedness of these nations that the Lord is dispossessing them before you. Because every abhorrent thing that the Lord hates, they have done for their gods. They would even burn their sons and their daughters in the fire to their gods.
Many scriptures indicate that the Canaanites burned the children as sacrifices to their idols Moloch. This is the wickedness of idol worship that God rebuked the Canaanites for. Archaeologists also found that their temple priests conducted ceremonies with naked body and had sex with the worshippers. Their society was filled with incest, homosexuality, and so on that God hates. God wanted to punish the Canaanites by the hand of the Israelites. God says in Deuteronomy,
"When the Lord your God gives them over to you, then you must utterly destroy them, so that they may not teach you to do all the abhorrent things that they do for their gods, and you thus sin against the Lord your God."
The Israelites occupied Jericho. They followed God's instructions to kill all the people in the city, together with their livestock, and burn down the city, except for Rahab's family. God destroyed the city of Jericho because of the sins of the Canaanites. But because of the righteousness of Rahab, He also brought deliverance.
Concerning God's command to the Israelites to completely destroy the Canaanites, Bible scholars have different opinions. Some even suspect whether the nature of God in the Old Testament is different from the God Jesus expressed in the New Testament. In fact, God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. God is merciful and loving. He provides salvation through Jesus Christ. He is also just. He rewards the righteous and punishes the evil. God rendered the judgment and ended the lives of the sinful and filthy Canaanites. Likewise, if the Israelites committed similar sin, they would be subject to God's punishment. As for you, keep away from the things devoted to destruction, so as not to covet and take any of the devoted things and make the camp of Israel an object of destruction, bringing trouble upon it. But all silver and gold and vessels of bronze and iron are sacred to the Lord. They shall go into the treasury of the Lord. At this time, God let Joshua warn the Israelites on how to handle the spoils of war. The meaning behind this was for them to have clean hands and pure hearts and live a life pleasing to God. This passage also implies that after the victory, the Israelites would soon encounter failures.
At Spring of Water International Ministries, we invite you to journey with us, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater. Isaiah 55:10. To find out more, follow Spring of Water International Ministries.